Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Devil May Cry 4. This is Accounting Nightmare, and today we're going to play Mission 16.
Devil May Cry.
So I actually did a bunch of Proud Soul farming on this file. We did it in Mission 9. It was because we're going to need quite a few this mission. Yeah, last mission we got Pandora, and we did need to buy a couple upgrades for it. Specifically the rocket launcher and the laser. Yeah, those are upgrades you have to buy. And you'll see the prices are starting to scale really hard. You'll see that one jumped from 30k to 50k. Yeah, they're getting really expensive. And we do have a fair chunk of orbs left over, but we're going to need even more next mission. We also need a whole lot of red orbs, because soon we're going to be finishing up our items. We have one more blue orb and one more purple orb to get. So we bought our last purple orb, which maxes out our devil trigger.
Oh, great. As if I didn't have enough obstacles already.
So yay, poison gas! So was this a malfunction in this lab, or is this a specific trap? I'm going to go with the latter. And here's our final combat adjudicator of the game. And we are losing health this whole time, but it's okay because there's some health right next to this adjudicator. This continues the proud Devil May Cry tradition of always having a level in which you're losing health. Number 1, 2 and 3 all had it. So number 4 has it too. And I don't know if the reboot has it, because I haven't played that yet. There we go, blue orb fragment. There are not many of those left to get in the game. Almost maxed out our health. And now we have to fight some cutlasses. These are the only cutlasses that Dante has to fight in the main campaign. Thankfully, because they're annoying. There's a few ways you can deal with them. You can do a devil-triggered stinger like that to knock him out the ground. If you're lucky, you'll hit multiple ones at the same time and knock them all out. Another good method is to use charged ebony and ivory shots, which will stun them long enough for you to flick him out the ground like that. Yes, the ebony and ivory is useful for something. You can use the shotgun too, but I have trouble hitting them with it because they move so fast. And the final method is Royal Guard. That one's not really recommended because it's hard, but it feels really good when you get it right. So yeah, cutlasses can be super annoying before you know how to deal with them. As Nero, by this time you should know to use charge shot on things and they'll wreck them. So on the way down the hallway we have a bunch of little green orbs, and now we're going to head on to the dice game. I love that cutscene. So now you'll see why I said that Dante's side of the game has some of the best cutscenes in the whole series. And that really shows the difference between Dante and Nero's characters. I mean, Nero found that dice thing kind of annoying, but he went along with it. He's still inexperienced, not sure what to do. And Dante is just like, nah, I'm not doing that. So we have to fight a room of gladiators, which isn't too bad. Main thing is to listen out, make sure that they don't catch you off guard. And it's always helpful to try and keep them off screen, so that when they do fly on screen they'll be near you. Use a bit of Pandora here. This is actually a really bad mission to use Pandora in, which is unfortunate since we just got it. I'd like to show it off a bit more. But many enemies in this mission are bad for Pandora, like the cutlasses in particular. They just move too fast for Pandora. And for gladiators you want the shotgun really. into the containment room, where we have to fight Agnus. No, we only have to fight some of Agnus's creations, which, they're still pretty bad. We've got some more gladiators, and they're mixed in with some Bianco Angelos. Which, they're a bit of a nasty combination, really. So in this mission, in this room, I like to focus on moving around and killing all the gladiators before I worry about the Angelos. And they're all dead already. Usually it takes longer than that, but this was a particularly good run. There's only 2 Angelos here, but they can be very troublesome mixed in with the gladiators, particularly on high difficulties when the gladiators become quite aggressive. So here's a fun thing you can do with Angelos, which I still find pretty tricky to time. But when it goes right, it feels really good. Royal Guard that shield, and you can eventually break it. And then he's at your mercy. And yeah, dropping the briefcase on them actually does damage. I didn't know that until recently. That's super fun to do. Pandora is just such a fun weapon. So on the way out, we've got some red orbs to collect. There's still that huge one in the centre there. And a couple little chairs. And the good news is that we're outside. And there's a big health pickup, so we can refill our health. That's pretty good. This switch over here is already activated. Get a nice view of the waterfall there. But yeah, we can't activate the switch again. I'm assuming someone must have activated it on their way through. Maybe it was Trish. But yeah, the logical explanation is that they just don't want us to activate it and get confused about where we're going. So yeah, the good news is that we're out in the open air. The bad news is we have to go back into the poison gas. Into the angel creation room. This is probably the nastiest room of the mission, I think. We have to make some good use of Omen there. You've definitely got enough time to set that off when you first enter this room. To really weaken these 2 Angelos. A third one spawns in, but as long as we're careful he won't do any damage to us. And there we go. And that was pretty bad. I was hoping the final kick from kick 13 would hit him and flick him up in the air. But oh well. No altos in that fight. Yet. Over here, this thing's still happening? I don't know, did someone forget about these people? Poor things. And there's that secret mission back there as well, which we did as Nero. That was the one where we have to track down treasure. And you can technically do it as Dante, but it's a lot harder because he can't actually track the treasure very well. Because he doesn't have a glowy arm. And the lighting coming off of this thing is actually really nice. So yeah, this whole factory is still running. At some point, maybe we should actually shut down the factory instead of just passing through it. I don't know, that sounds like a good idea to me. But I suppose Dante's got other things on his mind. Oop, I didn't distort that correctly at all. That's bull. Oh, that Bianco got caught by the end of that real impact, and I think he just straight out died. That was beautiful. I love real impact mishaps like that. This fight can be pretty scary because you can see we've got another Alto Angelo here. So if you focus on killing the Biancos and you don't kill that first Alto, then you end up with 2 Altos running around, and that's a bad situation. Fighting 2 Altos at once is pretty scary, I think. But if you can kill that first Alto super quick, that's why I went for the distorted real impact, to try and just get rid of him. And now I'm just trying to mess around with yeah, trying to squeeze some Gunslinger Pandora in there. I think it's a shame that that blade doesn't break shields. I think it would be well suited for breaking shields, but oh well. That's that nasty fight over with. Don't forget the barrels there, and hey, they have some health in them. That's handy. Especially because we're now out of the poison gas. That's the health drain part of the mission over with. And we can finally ascend back up into the castle. But there are some barrels on the way. Yes, these barrels are back. So it's time to break them again. And up the top. So this is apparently where we fell in through the ice, but I don't see a hole in the roof there. Anyway, it's easy to forget there's one barrel up the back here. You don't want to miss that and miss out on your S rank. And now we get to run out of the castle. This is one of the weakest parts about Dante's campaign. I think there's just a lot of running from place to place. Especially in this mission, you actually cover a lot of ground in this mission. And for a lot of it, you're not actually fighting anything. The ice is gone, and we can get out the front door. So you know what that means. One final red orb collection. And I'm completely messing that up. There we go. If you don't have enough devil trigger to get up there, I'm not sure if there's another way. And somehow these torches are relit. I don't know how. This whole place was filled with ice, so did someone relight those torches? Anyway. And that's all the red orbs. So it's time to say goodbye to the castle. It's a very nice castle. I really like the design of that place. Some really nice architecture there. We get another lovely view of the front. As the camera pulls back. Yeah, that looks great, doesn't it? Meet the Basilisk! It's kind of weird that they saved the Basilisk introduction until this late in the game. It's certainly not as tough as a Blitz. they're pretty annoying, but they're not as bad as Blitzes. So this fight is a huge, wide open area, which is a very bad place to fight Basilisks. So it's very recommended to stay around the edges like this and have the camera pointing towards the wall. That'll force the dogs to come up close to you, where you can actually hit them. And once again, Pandora isn't all that good for this fight, mainly because it's just too slow to hit them with. These dogs are surprisingly quick, and they'll avoid you. Same with Gilgamesh, actually. Gilgamesh isn't very good against these, so I pretty much just use the shotgun in Rebellion. Oh yeah, and if you can get a whole bunch of them with a devil-triggered stinger like that, that's excellent. Just knock them all on their butts. Oh, there's more. Yeah, more do spawn in here. If you ever get all spread out, then you can reset them by going up against the wall and forcing them to come in close to you, since they won't shoot you from off screen. If they start trying to shoot you and you move them off screen, they'll still finish their attack. That's something to be careful of. Last one, so kaboom! Some good old Pandora fun. Because we don't have a lot of time to mess around with these cool weapons. We'll get to play around with them a bit more in the Legendary Dark Knight mode missions. But overall, I feel like they don't really have time to shine. And I'm going to do the third set of Legendary Dark Knight mode missions, probably after mission 18, I think, or 17. I was going to do them earlier, but then I remembered that there's actually going to be weapon spoilers in there, because we're going to be using a fully powered up Dante, so I'm going to wait until after we have all our equipment. Now we actually have to climb this cliff. We didn't see this pathway as Nero, because he just fell down it in a cutscene. But yeah, there's actually a pathway leading up here. And ooh, red orb. And that actually makes a pathway leading up. There's actually a ledge up there, so you have to use trigger. And up you go. You have to hold right. It's tough to see where the ledge actually is, but if you just triple jump and hold right, you should get up there. And this secret mission is a bit of a pain. I don't like this one. I know I say that a lot about secret missions, but some of them are just a pain because they're hard. This one's it's hard because it's finicky. It's not actually, you know, difficult enemies beating you up like the last one. This one's finicky. So we have to use the Pandora laser to snipe these two statues, because we have a very strict time limit. And you can see, yeah, trying to line up this shot is really annoying. And yeah, we have such a strict time limit that you can't really just run up to them. You really do have to snipe them. So you only get a few chances at failing your shot before you're going to run out of time. That one takes me a lot of tries, so if you have to try that one over and over, don't worry. It's just an annoying secret mission. Good thing is, you only have to do it once. And off we go to get back to the to Berial, because I'm assuming you've guessed by now that's the boss. Especially because the mission intro said something about a fire hell conqueror. I wonder who that could be. And this fight against these dogs is completely optional, and I recommend skipping it. Because this is a very bad spot to fight them. You can't get them in a position where they're off screen and you force them to get near you. So you really have to focus on dodging them and dishing out damage when you can. Yeah, that one's really not worth it, I think. Just skip them. Very nice to have some green orbs on the way back. I do wish there was a bigger one, since we have a boss fight coming up. But oh well. Then you can stinger off the ledge to go into a dash. Very fun. Now we're back in the mining area. Been a while since we saw this place. Over here there was a vital star for Nero, but we collected that long ago, so it's not there anymore. And there's no fight here. There's a lot of detail put into this particular room. It's quite nice. And here there was a blue orb fragment that we got as Nero back in Mission 3, which was a total pain to get. But Dante can get it super easily by stingering off the ledge and using Trickster to air dash. And I don't think we even needed to devil trigger there, but you can devil trigger just to give yourself that extra jump and the extra air dash. Yeah, Dante's way better suited for getting that blue orb fragment. So to save yourself some pain, I recommend just doing it as Dante. And Dante can't use Grim Grips, so there's a little bouncy pad there for him, in case you fall down and need to get back up. And a Red Orb Crystal. Who remember this one from Nero's Mission 3? But this is not the final Red Orb Crystal in the game, there's one more next mission. But it's almost the last one. For now, we can prepare for the next boss fight.
Posing as God? How ridiculous.
You don't say. Wish you would have noticed me earlier. Now my coat's all charred.
The infamous son of Sparta. I will avenge my compatriots slain by your sword.
And Berial. Good old Berial, he's one of my favourite bosses in this game. He's just intimidating as hell. He's not gimmicky at all. He's just a really fun fight. You can actually kill Berial super quick with real impacts. But I'm actually not going to do that this attempt. I'm going to not use real impact. Instead I'm going to use a fair bit of Pandora, just so we can get some more use out of that. You can guard that explosion if you've got the right timing. It's pretty tricky though, and if you fail you're going to take a ton of damage. So it's too much risk for too little reward, I think. It does look cool though. Use some of our cool ranged abilities on him. Dante has quite a few ranged abilities at this point, and he gets even more soon. I find Berial harder to fight as Dante for some reason. I'm not sure if this fight is actually harder than the one we did in Mission 2, or if it's just because I'm not as good at fighting this guy as Dante as I'm as Nero. Either way though, I do find this fight pretty tough. That's an excellent opportunity to get in some Pandora shooting. So I'm trying to build up some meter here just so I can use Argument at one point in this fight. Argument doesn't do a huge amount of damage to him because it's Dante must die mode and he has a lot of health. But it's still pretty fun to use. That flame plume attack is probably his most dangerous attack, I think. If he catches you at the wrong point, then you're probably going to get hit. A good way to get out of it is to go Trickster, Devil Trigger, and then spam Trickster attacks. Ooh, lucky he lost his flame there, or I would have gotten hit. That was really good timing. And if we can do enough damage, we can knock him down. It's kind of weird when he loses his flame as Dante, because I feel like, oh, now it's time to grab him. But you can't grab him as Dante. Oh yeah, that's fun. You can see it didn't do a lot of damage, but it's decent enough. But there are far faster ways to kill him, so it's not a big deal really. You can see just how much damage Gilgamesh does to him compared to Rebellion. But Gilgamesh is more dangerous to use, that's for sure. Apart from maybe the jump kick attack.
You surpass my abilities. How shameful.
You can stay and die, or you can walk your ugly ass back through that gate. It's your call, pal.
I've retreated once and will not do so again.
That's a letdown. I was hoping for a bit more than just a few sparks. Satisfied. You are set free. And don't look so big from where I'm standing. Now it's just you and me, Mr. Savior.
That I'm still not quite sure what to make of that cutscene. And we have our final melee weapon, Lucifer. This is a very strange weapon, one of the more unique weapons in the series. It's right up there with Navarre in terms of being bizarre and difficult to handle, until you get used to how to use it. But we'll look at that after the mission in another Dante Roundup. So yeah, the fight against Berial, pretty fun. I do really enjoy that that boss fight. There's no long wait times like there is against Bale and Echidna. It's just constant fighting. And as I said before, you can use real impact against him. Oh, DMC history. Oh, yep, that will be for maxing out our Devil Trigger meter. DMC history, if you've forgotten, is the in-game achievement system, because this game doesn't have Steam achievements, unfortunately. It has DMC history instead. So that's the achievement for maxing out our Devil Trigger. Those don't pop until you finish a mission. So we'll be getting another one at some point for maxing out our health bar. That will probably be next mission. Anyway, Berial is he's a boss that you can either do in the hard way, as I did, or you can just annihilate him incredibly quickly using real impact. So let's go have a look at that. Going to start off with a few jump cancels, just because I didn't get many good jump cancels in the kill attempt. But the main event is distorted real impacts. You really just need one opening, and then you can just do them over and over. You need to make sure you're standing in the right spot, especially when he falls down. You have to go for the head, or half your real impact will probably miss. And yep, he did. That was on Dante Must Die mode, by the way. So, real impact. It's not broken at all. Nope. Especially distorted. Yeah, if you need to kill that guy quick, just do that. Anyway, that's all for mission 16. Next up, mission 17 is probably the hardest mission in the game, so we'll deal with that soon. But for now, a Lucifer roundup. So Lucifer is a pretty bizarre weapon. It focuses on creating these red swords. They look kind of like roses. And they can hover in the air or stick in enemies. And then you can cause them to explode, or they'll start exploding on their own. It's basically like you're leaving little mines everywhere. If they stick around for a while in the air, they'll also explode. Or you can reposition them to try and stick them in enemies. You can see how they float in the air like that. It's kind of cool. You can only have, I think, 15 of them out at a time, and then when you start creating more, it'll cause the previous ones to explode. So this is Lucifer Combo A. This one will just keep going as long as you keep mashing the button. And it creates these red swords as it goes. It's got like 4 hits in it. Or sort of 5, but one of them is just one button press. And it'll just keep going forever. It's good if you just want to get out a bunch of swords. Then you've got Combo B. This one's strange because it doesn't actually create any red swords. I think it does more damage than Combo A, but because it doesn't make any swords, it's a lot more situational. Then you've got Combo C, which is a lot more fun to use because it looks a lot more vicious. Which you're really sort of hurting that enemy quite hard and putting out a few swords while you're doing it too. Then you've got Combo D. Yes, Lucifer has a lot of combos. Combo D sort of puts a spray of swords out behind you to protect you. The swords don't completely protect you, but they do a decent job of putting out some area of effect damage. And finally there's Combo E, which starts off looking like Combo A and then ends in that attack from Combo C. Yeah, so it sort of starts off as Combo A, then turns into C. And that's all of Lucifer's normal combos. Then you've got the air attack called Splash. Splash puts out a whole bunch of swords in the air, as you can see. Good for getting out a lot of swords. And you can jump cancel it very nicely. Which is quite fun, I must say. Then you've got Pin Up. This is a forward attack, and this is Lucifer's most broken ability. It's the quickest way to get swords out by far. Each move puts out 5 swords. And you can pretty much just spam it to do lots of damage to things. You can also use it to set up some sword master moves, which we'll look at in a second. And it's because it's a forward attack, when you devil trigger it gets boosted, and that it comes out much quicker. It's sort of like how Stinger and Kick 13 get boosted by devil trigger. Pin-up gets boosted by coming out real quick. And finally there's Ecstasy, in which Dante throws the rose he's been holding in his mouth, and it causes all the swords on the field to explode. The rose itself also flicks the enemy in the air, see? And does a little bit of damage. That's a really fun little move to use. Then we'll move on to the Sword Master moves, which are all about repositioning swords that you already have on the field. So first up we have Discipline, which will cause all the swords that aren't in enemies to reposition around you. And you can hold the button for as long as you want and they'll stay with you. Then release the button and they'll shoot forward. As long as you're holding them like this, they won't explode. And you can see they can stick into enemies as they go forwards. Then there's Climax, in which you reposition all your loose swords into a shield. And they all become active at this point. They become active bombs and they won't reposition again. It's a fun little defensive move. Then we've got a Bondage. These are the real names, I'm not making this up. Bondage will reposition all your loose swords and cause them to stab into an enemy. That's pretty fun to use. It can be tricky to use against small enemies like this, as you can see, because some of them will miss. But against some large enemies, it's a great way to fill them with painful explosive mines. Also, while using this weapon, Dante does actually hold the rose in his mouth. See? It's a bit tricky to see, but it's just a cool little touch. Lucifer also gives us some more methods to kill blitzers. There's a difficult method and the easy method. This is the easy method. I like to call it the newbie method. I used this a lot when I was new to the game. It uses all your devil trigger, but you just spam pin up. As you can see, it causes the swords to come out so quick. It just annihilates the blitzer's shield, as long as it's standing still. If it's teleporting around, you won't be able to do this. But yeah, and that'll be enough damage to turn it red too. You probably won't be able to finish it off for a triple S kill, because its health might be a bit too high. But it's a good way to just finish a blitz off, and now you just have to avoid it until it explodes. It's a good way to deal with blitzes until you get better at the other methods, which the other methods are more touchy, I think, and definitely harder to pull off. It does eat a lot of trigger, as I said, but it's really effective because, yeah, as you can see, each pin-up puts up 5 swords, and then once you do 3 pin-ups, then the 4th one, and every successive pin-up will cause 5 swords to explode. So you've got like this moving, explosive line. It's pretty great, actually. A more interesting kill is this one. So you can abuse the fact that you know a fight's coming, and you can put out a whole field of swords and bring them with you with Discipline. It does look pretty intimidating, actually, walking around with that huge barrage of swords. Cause them to explode, and then we go into the real impact. Because real impact is still the one of the best ways to dispatch a blitz, and to make sure it's actually going to die. And we throw a rose to finish it off. Feels good. So yeah, there's Lucifer. It's a very tricky weapon to use well. It's got a slow wind up on its damage, but it can be devastating if used well. And next time we'll be off to mission 17, which will be quite tough, so I will see you there.